in May of 1942.
Looks good, doesn't
And
it?
I had to wait until November
Fat
of
old lady.
42 when I got called up to start in my flying program. And the first place I was assigned to was Atlantic City. After a while, I was sent to Norwich University in Northfield, Vermont. And again, it was a series of
There's a
ground
whistler,
training.
B-24s, we call whistling shithead.
Northfield, Vermont to Nashville, Tennessee, where they tried to figure out whether you were going to be a pilot, bombardier, or navigator. And
How's the timing?
at that point, after about 2 months,
Steaming.
I was assigned to flying training as a pilot. And the first place I was sent to was Avon Park, Florida, and we were flying Stearman PT-17s, primary trainers, and we tried to get 70 hours. You had 3 schools. You started in primary, the second school was basic, the third school was advanced. In each school you were supposed to get 70 hours of training, but of course it was off by maybe 4 or 5, usually on the heavy side because of bad weather. And we,
Is the timing all right?
in primary, we learned to,
Where are you going?
well, number one, we soloed so that we actually, and we did beginning of aerobatics. We did spins and stalls and that sort of stuff. We didn't do any cross country at that point. The second school we went to that I was assigned to was Cochran Field in Macon, Georgia. And there we flew Vultee Valiants, BT-13s. That means basic trainer, 13. And there we did more advanced aerobatics.
That's a 6 there.
We started cross country. We did a little night flying. And the third school we started at was advanced single engine in AT-6s. And again, another 70-hour regimen. And we did a lot of night flying, a lot of starting. We started a little gunnery, but very little down at Eglin Field, Florida. And at that point, we were assigned to fly P-40s. We did 10 hours in P-40s. And I happened to shoot a big gunnery score. And
Passing was 15%. I
so
shot
I
a
was
6.
made a gunnery instructor down at Eglin Field. And then I was sent back to the advanced school that I was at Dothan, Alabama. It's called Napier Field. And there we flew AT-6s, and I was an instructor. One day they had a notice on the board that anybody wanted to volunteer. We had some openings for particularly hazardous duty in a cold, wet, and windy climate. I didn't know what it was, but I signed it.
There I am on
Suddenly
the upper
I
left.
was on the
That's
ship
that
and
picture.
going over to Scotland. I wound up in
That
P-47
guy's the second one. Yeah,
Thunderbolt
lost
squadron.
both
I
his
wound
legs.
up in the 53rd Fighter Squadron of the 36th Fighter
Right
Group of
right
the
there, next
Ninth Air
to the
Force.
sign.
We had some harrowing times, of course. We mostly did ground support. We mostly did low-level attacks on tanks and trucks, locomotives, troops, airfields.
That's napalm.
We shot out all the time. One thing we were escort pilots where we would fly for 5 or 6 hours, and other than heavy flak, which we could get away from as fighter pilots, and the poor bombers had to drive through, and we were always getting shot at. And of course we were I started flying originally out of a little bit out of Epernay in France, and then we went to Louvain, Belgium. That's where our field was, which was a former Luftwaffe fighter field. And that was just before the Bulge, or the battle at the Ardennes. And we got into that, and we lost a lot of guys. We started the beginning of that particular battle, which started on the 16th of December in 1944. And we had 33, I'm not sure whether we had 33 or 35 pilots in the squadron at the time. And between the 16th of December and the 1st of January, we had 19 pilots left. So we had fairly heavy losses in the Ardennes campaign. And then towards the end of the war, as the Germans were getting pushed back by the Russians and the Americans were coming in, the Luftwaffe still had plenty of airplanes. They were short on fuel, but they were getting pushed back to fields that they could defend better than the fields they were on out in the hinterlands.
Have you seen this
One
before,
of the most
Chris?
successful
No.
missions we ever had was on the
Never has any
17th of April in
notes or anything,
1945. In that particular mission, we had 3 flights, and
Flight is 4 airplanes.
we originally were attacking some locomotives or trains, and the Luftwaffe, some guys, and we got bounced by some FW-190s, and we started a little battle with them, and then we actually turned east to get away from them because they were above us, and we ran across a German airfield which was packed with German airplanes. So we had a big scramble with them, big fight. We shot down, I think 10 of them confirmed, and I think there was 9 others that were severely crippled. We lost 2 airplanes and no pilots. One of the airplanes that was shot down was mine. I got badly hit by ground fire, and it was oil all over the canopy, and very difficult to see out of the airplane. And I turned west away from the field and went to, kept flying west, and I was looking for a place to get the thing down, and I wasn't sure where the line was. I wasn't sure where the American line was. So I kept flying, and finally I saw a little field, an evacuation field, a field like a MASH hospital. In other words, a forward advanced hospital.
Military
And there were little planes taking
advanced
off, and I could
surgical
see that
hospital,
they had
MASH.
American stars on the wings. So I took the airplane and tried to get it down on their short little runway. The P-47 lands at about 135 miles an hour, and they landed about 40 miles an hour, and they just practically made the end of their runway. So I stuck the thing down as early on the runway as I could, just come in over some little low bushes, banged it on the runway, and I kept rolling and rolling, went into a woods beyond the end of the field, and the trees were going tick, 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 and they were pretty big trees, and it knocked the hell out of the airplane. So anyway, that was the end of that mission, and it was right toward the end of the war. It was the last big fight we had, but it got us, our particular group, that got us our second,
Presidential
what do you
unit
call
citation.
it, group citation,
Presidential.
which was very, very good. They had gotten one before when they were up around Carentan. So,
It's up in,
so the war ended as far as I was concerned, and I was home in late December 1945. And I went ahead and did 73 missions, and I was lucky. I could walk out of airplanes at the end of the war, and I was still alive.
That's great, isn't it?
That's a good little flick, isn't it?
Yeah.
I love that he never has notes, nobody asks him a question.